Hi, this is Mark Bind, and welcome to Bondage Church. As you can see, I am sitting in a cell, and it's an old one. It was built around 1900. It's about 4.5 feet wide and about 6.5 feet long, and I'm locked in, and I'm in a traditional striped uniform. And so right now I don't have the choice of being able to get out. I don't have the choice of being able to go on the internet. I can't change my clothes. I'm stuck with this, and so my whole world is this space. Now, the difference between me and people that are incarcerated in prisons is that I did this of my own choice. I chose to be locked up. So I am probably, in fact, I'm not going to say probably, I'm going to tell you that I'm probably freer than many of you who are watching this, who are not locked up. Because while I'm locked up, I don't have to worry about the things outside because there's nothing I can do about it. I'm stuck here. So why worry? I can't, if there's a bill to be paid, I can't pay it right now. If there's an issue to take care of, I can't really do it. So everyone is in bondage of sorts, of some kind. Some of it is something that's completely out of your control. We're in bondage to our own health. Some people are bound to wheelchairs. Physically, they can't get up, they can't walk. They're bound by physical restraint, that ailments. And there's nothing we can really do about that but live with it. There's also things that people are bound to the countries they're in and the laws that are in the different countries. And some countries are freer than other countries, and so you're bound by those laws. They literally call it bound. It's a bondage, I guess. You're bound by that. We're also bound by our responsibilities. If you are married, well, you have a responsibility to that spouse. If you have children, you've got a responsibility to them. Friends, you have a responsibility to your friends, really. You wouldn't just want to give them up, right? Might be some you do, but then they're not friends. So we have those kinds of things that tie us down to bondage in a sense. And is it bad? Well, not necessarily. Some of it, I mean, you don't want to end relationships in order to be more free, right? No, you don't want to do that. But then there's other kinds of bondage. Say addiction, people that are addicted to alcohol or to certain drugs, things like that, and their addictions, and they're not fun. They're just bound to those. That's a kind of bondage that's not healthy, and all it does is lead you to not being happy. So there's other kinds of bondage as well. I had it was actually a relative who was quite wealthy. And I noticed that he had a lot of things. He had a big house, then he also had a lake house, and he had a jet ski boat, and he also had a small plane, and he had a horse as well, and all these other things. So I noticed that he would have to deal with the vet, and then he would be dealing with someone who needed to take care of his plane because something was broken down, and then he had to go and they'd go water skiing. He'd have to clean the boat afterwards, and then they'd have to take care of the lake house and run down there and do that. And I realized that he was in bondage to his things. It was like, okay, it was really fun to go water skiing on his boat because it wasn't my thing. I didn't have to take care of it. And I was just done, but then he had to take care of storing it somewhere and then loading it and unloading it and the lake house and all of this stuff. You can have too much stuff, and then you become in bondage to that stuff. So what we need to do is choose what you want to be in bondage to. So everyone's different. So some people just really like a fancy car. Fine, nothing wrong with it. If that's the thing you really like, get a fancy car if you can afford it. I see people that have houses that have like, like 6 bathrooms in them. And I'm going, do they really need to go to that bad that they've got to have a bathroom, 20 feet apart? And there's only 2 people living in the house. Why do you need so many bathrooms? So you get that's bondage to things. So pick and choose. And if that's the thing that makes you happy, having a great big house, then fine. Some people, maybe that helps their self-esteem. I don't know. For me, I find that if I'm in a cell like this, you're left with your thoughts. I can clear my mind. And that's part of what this bondage church is about, is that people have found that sometimes if you get yourself into a stark environment, that you're actually free. You free your mind. You can think clearly. You can think and make decisions about your life. I've had experiences with this, and I've seen other people who've had experience with this. Think about the monks going back in the Dark Ages and going back that would be in very stark spaces. Why did they do that? Why did they want to be in such a stark living space? They felt that it made them more spiritual. It cleared their mind to think about more important things than just stuff. So here I am in bondage of my own choice, on my own terms, that I've chosen. And as the person running this thing that we're just getting started, I'm committed to do it. But I can't do it all the time. Why? Because I am in bondage to certain responsibilities. One of them is that I have to eat and pay bills, just like the rest of you. But I don't need to have a fancy car. I don't need to have a big giant house, none of that stuff. And I've already don't have that stuff. But I still have to survive, and you do too. So sometimes we have to give and take. I suppose if someone donated, and I'm not asking for a donation, okay, we're not going to go there, all right? This is not going to be a place where we're asking for big donations. But if I had someone who gave me a few $1 million to be locked up all of the time and just run this church, and now I'm just the way we talk about that, I'm just in bondage all the time and give these sermons, sure, I would do it. But that's not what's going to be happening. Okay. So what I'm doing is I spend a large amount of time not free and even restrained heavily in order to have my in places that I can't, in situations where I can't see, I can't move, And when I'm in those situations, my mind can be clear because I have no freedom at all, no freedom of even movement, of sight, of sound. And when I'm in that situation, my mind clears and I think of different ideas. So, shortly before doing this video, I was restrained very heavily, could hardly move, and I came up with this particular idea. I'm calling it a sermon, and I'll be doing other ones about how we can make ourselves better people. It's a church in a way. You're not worshiping me. We're trying to make ourselves better and trying to help everyone else. And that part of bondage, the relationships with other people, you want to keep that. Because I think that's probably the most important thing when it comes right down to it. But again, everyone has that one thing and figure out what it is. And then free yourself of all of the other things that bind you down. The things that you can't help, well, you're stuck with those. And you just deal with it. We have to deal with our infirmities. We have to deal with laws and the situations we're in. We can't control it all. But don't let things control you. Control your own bondage of what you're going to be bound to, the ones that you can control. Have a good day. Be good. Treat others with respect and love other people.